making a chicken basket today, so you'll need at least one skein, 32 yards of your main color that you want to make the basket out of. You'll need not even all of this for sure for the comb, so probably like a yard. The comb would be plenty. A little 12-inch piece of yellow for the beak, 2 pieces of black, 8 inches, 12 inches for the eyes. And then if you wanted to add some more colors for like the tail feathers, I'll give you some different options for doing that as well. We'll need scissors, round counter, row counter, stitch marker, and I always have a lighter handy. So this is finger crochet. Someone asked me in the comments why I have been doing some finger crochet. I find finger crochet is a little bit more structured for things like baskets. If you want them to stand on their own, then finger knit. So this is why I'm doing the crochet. So we're going to start with our magic circle. So we take our hand and we lay our yarn over our hand, and you're going to grab that with a thumb, and then you take the yarn around the back of your hand, right back to where your thumb is, grab it again, but we're crossing those two. And now flip your hand over. This one yarn is anchored, the other one is free flowing. So you grab the free flowing one and pull it through the anchored one, and then you're going to twist the yarn, creating a loop on your thumb. Now take the working yarn through that loop. You don't want it a very big loop, the one that you're going through. You want it kind of small. I'm just helping with my other hand there, pulling through a loop that's kind of a loose 1 finger's width. Now you're going to take the magic circle off your hand and then pull this tail like that. So this is the start of our magic circle. Now we're going to be creating 8 crochets, single crochets around this magic circle. So taking our working yarn, keeping it nice and close at the back there, we're going to bring it around the circle up through the middle to match the loop that's on our thumb. Now the working yarn is still at the back of the circle, and you take it through those 2 loops. It creates this V right here. This is your first single crochet. And this is your working loop. So when we knit, we have a lot of loops going at once. When we crochet, we usually only have 1 working loop once we've done the stitch, unless we're doing something crazy with something. So we're going to repeat that for a total of 8. So that was 1. So this is going to be 2. I do have some other videos of the magic circle. Just keep practicing. It's a tension thing too, like keeping your yarn at the back tight. If you like kind of let it get loose, you're going to get some bumpies in the back. And the stitches kind of lay around the circle, not on top of the circle, around the outside of the circle. And then you can always go back and count your V's. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm running out of my tail, so I'm just going to pull it a little bit. It should slide. And that should be my last stitch. So let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So some people have a little bit of trouble. Their stitches are sitting like on top of the circle like this. Just make sure you kind of maybe push the stitches so they're around the outside. Now pull your magic circle tight. This takes some finesse. Some yarn slides better than others, so just take your time. So that's nice and closed in the middle. That counts as our first round magic circle. So there's 8 in there. Now we're going to be doing increases in each of those. So that's just 2 single crochets in each stitch. And this is where I'm going to start using my stitch marker because I usually lose count. So take the back to the front of that loop and then pull through. That's 1 crochet. So take your stitch marker. You can put it on the full V or just part of it, whatever you want. Now this is where tension again comes into play, because if you kind of just leave this working yarn and pull it through, you're going to get these bumps on the back. So you really want to make sure that you're keeping it nice and close in the back there, especially with increases. And this little bump here too. So I'll give another trick in this next stitch here. So this first one that we pull up, We're actually going to keep it pretty small, nice tight 1 finger's width, just enough to pull through, and that will just also help keep it nice and neat. So this next one we pull up, keep it nice and small. So keep practicing with it. It is a tension thing. So doing 2 in each of the 8 stitches, we're going to end up with 16 at the end. Another difference between the knit and crochet is crochet will, it's a yarn, this is more of a yarn eater. You're going to go through more yarn with this. But like I said, it's a little more structured. If you just look at the way this is, there's less gaps in between. So it's nice for baskets and things that you need structure for. So I've totally lost count. So go back to our stitch marker. This is why I use my stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how they're turning? 6, 7, 8. It takes a little while to notice or to get the hang of it. So when you do increases, sometimes that stitch can kind of get a little bit lost. So just make sure you have a nice circle at this point. Now we kind of want to change this into an oval. So we're going to be doing single crochets except for stitches 7 and 8 and 15 and 16. Those are going to be increases. So single crochet 6. So just checking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now 7 is going to be 2. Increase. So we're going to have 20 stitches at the end of this round. Stitch 8 is 2 increases. Or an increase, I mean, not 2 increases, an increase, 2 single crochets. Okay, and then it was 8. I'm just going to count this way. 9. It's not counting the single crochets, I'm just counting which stitch I'm in. 10. 11. 14. So then these last two, 15 and 16 stitches, number, but these would actually be single crochets 17, 18, 19, 20. So the side that our tail's on, this is the inside. This is the side where if your tension is a little bit loose, you might have some bumps. You can always just kind of try to push them, spread out your stitches, and they might disappear, or you might just need to practice a little bit more, which is fine. All good. So the next step we are going to do is we're going to be doing a single crochet, but in the back loops. If you want to make a bigger chicken, you're more than welcome to do another round of 20. And you might have to do 3 increases on the side, but I'm just going to make a smaller chicken now. So stitch marker, we have the V, right? So we call the inside the front loop, this outside the back loop. So we're just going to use the back loop and do a crochet through that one. We're just trying to create walls up the side now instead of building out. You can even do this way. Just make sure you take the loop, the first loop, take back to the front of this next loop. And I didn't, it was around 3, this is around 4. Oops, that was a little loose. So again, checking my V's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. Now just kind of flatten it down. Now we're just going to keep crocheting around these rounds for as high up as you would want. So this time you're going to go through both of the stitches again. I'm just going to mark the inside one like so. seems to be like as tall as I want to make it. If it had a bigger base, you could make it more round or make it taller, but I think this is going to work for what I want. So you can just cut your yarn and you're going to pull this last loop all the way through. Pull it tight. Decide which end you would like your front to be. What way is looking better? The head, or maybe you want to do the head on this one and then hide that with some tail feathers. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So then take your tail, go to the inside of that next one. And then go back. And I'm going to pull through like so. I'm actually tail. I'm just going to mark it. So I'd pull this halfway through like this maybe, and then burn this to anchor it, and we'll add some more colorful loops on that end. Anyways, we need to make the front. So the front we're going to close off just a little bit. We're going to like pinch this together. And you can use a piece of your chunky yarn. And you're just going to go, so 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 stitches back. Go through. And then come and go through the next two, sandwich together. And then the front right up here. So, cut a long enough tail so that I'm going to go and take that same route and put it the opposite way. That. And I'm going to weave this one through, not to like take it back through the same stitches. Maybe just clean up the front a bit. Get it to this other one. Tie them together. Trim it, and you can burn them together. Or stuff them inside, and then you'd burn up in there, but whatever. So then that's what it looks like from the side, and we'll make more of these. I'm just going to anchor this tail before I pull it through. Like the tail would be pretty easy to just tie on pieces of yarn to, whatever way you want to make little feathers. Now we're going to need to make a comb. So we're going to go, these are the back loops, but they're inside. I guess we'll just call them the inside of the V right now. Pull up one that way, and then I'm going to take my working yarn to the other side, pull up a loop. Going the other way. One more. Oops, that's the way I went. Go the other way. Like so. So we have 3 loops. This guy around, I'm going to pull up a loop just on the side of those inside V's. And then, so this one's coming through this way, so I'm going to pull it through this side. And then last off should be down here. take the tail and just move it to the back so we can knit over it. So take your yarn to the back of these loops, pull it up, pull up, 2, and you're going to take that first loop over the second loop if you need to make your loops a little bit bigger to do that. Over top here. Top. Now we cut and pull it through that last loop. And then you can take the yarn tail. I'm going to take it down into the middle of the basket here, if I can. Woo. There. And then I'm going to tie this one to it. Just make sure, hard to see here. Your knot gets hidden away, or you trim the ends. And then I'm just going to burn these 2 pieces together. This is how it's looking. So the beak, let's go to the front, find a spot, and I'm just going to do 1. Just tie it on. You could wrap it again and make a double beak, but I think just for the basket I like the 1. And then your eyes. So black yarn. You could use blanket yarn for all this too. I think this is where the eye is calling. So just find a stitch. These guys might be a little long, so when you could trim the ends when you stuff them in and burn them together if you're finding like there's too many ends sticking out. So that's one side of the chicken. So then there's one down and there, I think. Yeah. There, that's what I mean is like go into the inside. See all these little yarn pieces? Make sure they're nice and tight. Get a very good melt on the piece of plastics in the middle and then burn them together. Just so there's less chance of them being pulled out. So I would do that with all those pieces. And then you want to add, if you want to add like, I'm just going to add some more brown. I like the brown. Different way. Create a slip knot. Cut. Take your slip knots ends to the inside. And then just tie them together. And then burn them like I did at the top part so that you can secure them away. So that's how I'm going to add one more.